And we're back. Oh, we're here. We're actually back.
Guess who's back? Back
Because
again.
Olga is back with us.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Hi, chat.
How are you doing, guys?
Having CPU problems, it seems.
Who? You?
Rising Dragons.
Asbest.
Masbas.
Yep.
We'll check that.
We have been having that problem for a week. So the net and the CPU problem on your side, is it?
No, that's oh yeah. Well, doesn't say whether it's EOS or WAX. So we don't know.
God damn
Masbas,
it.
you have to give us more specific instructions of where to look.
Here we are. Back with the notifications.
Hello,
Oh,
Racing Dragons. Wax? Okay, interesting.
Whose notifications is that? Again.
Volume mixer, decrease.
There we go.
Decrease everything.
Just started today. Okay. Maybe it's just CPU being.
Sikostos is asking, what is happening with Gold Lootbox Wallet?
There were a lot of claims on that over the weekend, so we ran out, and now we filled it up today. So it should be working again. So, how was your week, everyone? Or how has it been? Or how did it start? Or whatever. Last few days before the season end, and it's incredibly hot here in Portugal.
Wombat Trio, I like the term.
We're like Charlie's Angels, but not in shape for combat whatsoever.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. We're seeing a lot of questions. Let's still finish with the slow opening. Yeah, it was really hot, but I managed to get into some ice cold water on Saturday. So that was really
Nice.
Yeah.
Ice cold.
Yeah, there's a stream of canals here where I am, where they usually host those sorts of kayak competitions and what have you. And the water is shallow, crystal clear, and yeah, cold. I mean,
I don't think I will ever do that, like, willingly to get into something cold.
it's actually not as bad as you think. Like, if you stand there in full height, obviously you, like, a sizable part of your body is all the way down there where it's the coldest, right? But if you just jump into it and swim along the stream, it's warmer there, and yeah.
But it's probably not that cold water. It's just a river.
Well, I mean, it's literally cold for all of the German speakers out there. Eiskanal. Also. It is cold. But it was very invigorating. And considering it was 31 degrees, it's really good. So I hope everyone also in the chat had good weather. And if it was too hot, they had the ways to cool off. And if it was miserable, they had ways to warm up and spend some quality time indoors.
It only got really hot here today, so it hasn't been that bad.
It's freezing cold here, actually.
What you mean when you say freezing?
Well, 10 degrees. It's not that freezing cold for you.
Freezing cold when you live next to the equator, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Do we want to jump into the questions?
Yeah, it was just basically just checking because Beantown Vinton Bob has been reporting an issue with the EOS and that's the first time I heard about that. And so I just wanted to try for myself, and it's also working for me. So these things are always the worst, right? When somebody has an issue with something, and maybe it's temporary, maybe it's depending on certain circumstances, I don't know, right? And it's
Maybe
like,
it's patient 0.
maybe it's Monday.
Maybe it's Monday. Yeah. Curiously enough, we also had Friday the 13th last week, but I feel like this kind of carried over to Monday. Friday was okay for me personally.
Well, at least it wasn't worse than any other day of the week.
Yeah. The bar is low. Rising
This is a good
Dragons
question.
is here with the winter propaganda. Oh. But isn't it only in the US? Or
Well, Santiago wrote me Happy Father's Day yesterday as well.
okay.
So it wasn't for you?
No. It's funny
So-
because
Oh, okay, I take it back.
I think in
Hope your
Portugal
Father
it
Day
was
suck.
in Portugal I think it was in April, and then in Germany it was in May,
May.
and
End
now
of May. Yeah.
everywhere else it seems that it was on Sunday. In Germany it's always on a Thursday. It's always on whatever Christi Himmelfahrt, the name of this
Yeah.
Christian holiday is in English or internationally. It's always on the same public holiday, essentially, which means
Ascension Day.
that Ascension Day. Oh yeah, right. Which means that you have just a Friday ahead of you. So most people basically just take Friday off and get absolutely drunk on Thursday, right? So it's actually pretty cool. So it's also called Männertag, right, in Germany, not just Vatertag, but also Männertag. So you go for a hike. You take like a little cart with a lot of beer, and you do little
go
barbecues
wild.
and
Sounds
And
like
just-
stuff that fathers will do.
sounds like stuff that everyone will do, like even if they're not fathers.
That's fair.
And look, there's even countries where Father's Day is yet to come.
Daddy's
Oh, it
having a
was
ball
19th
all around the
March.
world.
Oh yeah, then it was March. It was just a
And you
long
missed
time
it.
ago, so I don't even remember. And what I got was Happy Father's Day from my kids. So that was cool. And I think they prepared something in school, and I got a little drawing of sorts, or whatever I got.
Aw.
I don't really remember.
Be careful because somebody's gonna clip it, wait for 18 years, and then show it to your kids. Ah, they did some drawing, some bullshit at school. Yeah, I don't remember.
That's what you
that was
said.
nice.
That was nice. They do. The thing is that they make drawings and pictures and whatnot very often, right? So sometimes they would just bring that home and say, "Hey, that's for you." So it's very cute in general. It's just that there wasn't that much special things, right? They didn't bake a cake or bring me a cold
fix
beer
your
or
car.
whatever.
Yeah.
Or yeah. But look, MSD Crypto YT has a cool suggestion. Can we add NFTs from the OnePlay collections as rewards in Engage project? We could actually, because we have some left over.
We could if it hooks up to what? To EOS account next. I mean, shouldn't be an issue. Should actually check in with Matt on that. Thank you for the suggestion, MSD. And also thank you for engaging on X-Men. I know that you're one of the creators in Dungeon Master, and I do hope you take part in our closed alpha because I'm really curious to see like what people who are already making art or small games or gamified experiences would come up with, like supercharged, 'd, with, supercharged, with, AI stuff. It'd be crazy.
I still have to get used to using more AI for things because it's like it feels like the early "let me Google this for you" days, right?
Uh-huh.
When you ask somebody like, "Hey, do you know XYZ?" and then you just type it into "let me Google this for you," and you just send them the "let me Google this for you" link, right? And sometimes when I ask some people, like especially younger people, right, Gen Zers, when you ask them like, "Hey, how do you do this?" And they just go like, "I asked ChatGPT or I
Yes.
asked Claude or whatever," and you go like, "Yeah, I should have thought about that myself." Right?
It is.
So let me ChatGPT this for you.
You know, I love the mode of ChatGPT, the deep research. You just put like research about this, and they take like 10 minutes to research on the whole internet, on Google, and everything, the stuff that you need. It is very useful. For example, for my car, apparently there was a recall for some of the equipment in which they will replace it for free, but I couldn't find the issue. So I asked ChatGPT, like, hey, can you find this for me? He took 10 minutes, but he found what I needed. So that was awesome.
10 minutes.
I mean, it
pretty
is
long.
amazing. I do still think that you have to manually verify all of those things because ChatGPT especially is prone to making shit up or not
Actually,
cross-referencing stuff.
a good hack for it is to tell him do not hallucinate. For some reason, if you put that, yeah, actually, it's like
Okay.
a command, do not hallucinate, and he stops making up stuff.
All
Cool.
right.
Yeah, sometimes it's really weird that AIs don't have any control over like any quality control or whatever, right? So they will come up with something and then you say, "Hey, that's not right," or "this doesn't work," or whatever, and then they would say, "Oh yeah, right, and I forgot this on line 3, and let me fix this for you." You're like, "Yeah, okay, but you could have just made sure yourself, right? You could have just wondered yourself."
That's good. I think what's more kind of promising or bullish in crypto terms are specialized projects that are utilizing DeepSeek or ChatGPT or whatever. Um, I'm not going to be dropping any names, but a certain person I know uses a few tools for researchers, specifically for like cross-referencing stuff, looking for actual scientific papers on the topic, writing up summaries and whatnot, just to speed up the work, right? With the papers in the academia and whatnot, works like magic.
What's your
Sure, it's
question?
just for cross-referencing.
All right, we're being dissed for derailing from the questions.
So people are asking a lot about the chest.
The chest.
Do you have an estimation when will all wax claims from Wiccan being sent out?
I already asked that question to the team, so
Let's have the estimations.
so we'll have an answer hopefully soon.
Okay. Second question, Kevin. This will be cool, but they are entities.
So no transferring.
Yeah, there's no way to get the plans working on them.
Yeah, back in the day, we were thinking about a concept where you could actually burn them.
Mhm.
You could get something like burn entities because they're typically burnable, and then get something better. But that's not very foolproof, and yeah, it's difficult. It's much more difficult than just blends.
Good. What else do we have? Oh, Beantown. He's asking, how are the play from the Question content going to be distributed?
All right. Well, that's a question for me. One, Beantown. Aí, yeah. this was for new people with the design of that in mind, at least. My answer goes with the line of everything that we've been saying so far. We need to
Alright.
ensure.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's okay. We need to ensure the kind of healthy, sustainable environment for play first before we can unclog any such token emissions, even for community activations and whatnot. So, Queston falls in line with that, and we do not want to do anything right away that's potentially harmful to the token itself. But basically, the idea is that all of the addresses submitted for the contest, this is where the tokens are going to be airdropped to via vesting, like anything else. Hope I could answer your questions.
So just directly to the Solana wallets, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. I just checked because Kevin Kev is right. The
Yes,
Chat Wombat
it is
is not an
entity.
entity.
That's why I said, oh my god, you're right.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah. So I'll think about it. Seems nice. Maybe not the same MP like 8K, but that'll be interesting.
All right.
So this I'm not aware of because CLI is saying, do we need to stop wasting our $1 and time into the whatever it says because of all the chests not delivering the prime letters? I mean, the golden chests that I just received feedback that this should be fixed soon. But you're also not getting prime letters. That I'm surprised about, actually.
Chat to the chat entity. Why do you want to kill the Wombat chat? Just wondering. Like,
oh, but this is
Chat.
interesting, right? You can stake it for 1,000 MP, or you could have an entity that has lower MP. Dead chat.
I will think that maybe for Halloween, like we can make a dead Wombat chat and make it an entity.
I mean, it's kind of like petrifying, right? So
it's petrifying the chat, yeah.
I mean, for Halloween, it works especially because you can make it into like some paranormal entity. Actually, it's me and my shitty puns. Never mind me.
Nice. Are you referring to the Dungeon Master shop?
yes.
In that case, yes, we will implement Play and we will also implement Wax, just because we can do it, and it will be nice to be able to buy something with Wax.
What about base though? Because we're getting questions about base.
Is there a plan to integrate base chain in Atomic Hub, and when? Thanks.
So what we're looking at is general. I mean, Santiago can also talk about this, obviously, but because I just recently had a discussion about this. One thing that we're looking at is basically generalizing the way we handle EVM chains, except for ZK EVM, immutable ZK EVM, because that's not an ordinary EVM chain, right? Especially in terms of handling NFTs. But what would be really cool is if we could basically just add additional EVM chains without having to implement anything, essentially, right? Because it's basically handled the same way as all the other EVM chains, based on the same infrastructure, just kind of different endpoints and different collections and whatnot, but everything else would be the same. So that's what we're looking into, so that we don't have to kind of implement base, but we could configure base more or less, right? So that's going to be a little bit of a bigger thing, but we have an upcoming deadline of sorts, because we've been using Reservoir for the Polygon implementation, and Reservoir are stopping their support in Santiago, it's September or something.
Yes, September.
So that's why we're looking at, okay, how are we going to deal with that, right? will we generalize this, and then base should not be a problem. That would be cool. So the answer would be probably around September-ish when we have to do something about Polygon anyway.
Yeah. There's so
I mean-
much stuff to do.
Yeah, but I would love to see it sooner because we're also moving kind of more into the base ecosystem. Moving is probably not the right word for that. Tapping into, exploring, right, with the bridge and with all of the games that we want to have deployed, with Metagate as a partner too. So makes total sense to me, and seems like 2 people in chat as well.
So it is October 15th, but yeah, let's try to deliver it sooner.
Would be cool, because base is also kind of really getting into consumer-facing growth, if that makes any sense. So with the Coinbase app also implementing solvents directly from DEXs and whatnot, a lot of games deploying on base and stuff like that. It's a good space to move into effectively.
True. Okay. Do we have any other question? Yes, Catop says, I'm a little bit worried with this new league format, that it will only benefit Wells and mean less for players like me in position 113 on the leaderboard. I cannot guarantee if you will be getting more or less next season. It will depend up to you on the runs you do, on the league you end up on. So that's really what it will depend the most. Of course, and people should be aware of it, leaks is something very new. And even though if we're taking 3 weeks to deliver, 3 extra weeks to deliver everything, I'm not certain that it will be perfectly balanced for the first season. So it's a matter of iterating stuff, balancing stuff. As always, you cannot make it perfectly. No one can make it perfectly. So that's part of the ride and designing this stuff.
You should ask ChatGPT for feedback
Yeah, for
on
sure.
balancing.
But that would be an interesting, because we obviously, for CapTop specifically, we could actually simulate what that would mean, right? If they basically do the same things that they've done before. But mostly I think it will, so you will not per se be getting less or more, right? What it's going to be like is, and obviously that's what any feature should do. It should, quote unquote, change behavior, right? It should spark kind of a change in, let's say, competitiveness or whatever. And so it will depend not only on what you do, but also on what everybody else does, right? So if people in your league suddenly become more active or less active, let's say, because whatever, right? Then you might end up getting more or fewer rewards just based off of what everybody else does, right?
Yes. The leaks coming, I mean, following up with the leaks stuff. With leaks coming, if everything was to stay the same, MP year level, will players be better off or earn less? It's more of what you said. It's a change on behavior, what we're looking for. We're giving the same amount of USDC. So really it will end up depending up to you, like how you behave, how you play, in which league you want to stay competitive for you to be earning your money. A tavern isn't a tavern unless kids shout out or dogs bark or Adrian runs out of juice.
Out of juice.
Well, my
people-
dogs are sleeping here.
Are people already building stream bingo with everything that's gotta happen? Otherwise, it ain't it.
My kids aren't home yet. They will come home, so I totally imagine that this is going to happen as soon as they're home.
I'm planning on doing the same runs with roughly the same MP. I'll let you know next season then, for sure. Um, I expect you to change your behavior, either run more or try to change a little bit your layout, but we will see. Only time will tell.
Santiago started as a very strict mother, and I expect you to change
I
your
expect you to
behaviors.
behave like this. Where's the ship? He's sleeping. Do we get to pick the league, or are you assigning? You will be assigned your league based on your previous season performance.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna do this quick one because it's rather unexpected. Good Knights of Catena, hello back. Hello.
Hello.
Let's talk.
Hey, yeah, good to see you
Okay.
guys.
The cut-in is over. We can go back to the questions. MSD Crypto is back at it with an interesting proposal. And if we have game developers I can send right now to one of your ready-to-list game, tried it in the past but without success, is Christmas themed. Looking at 30-something degrees. This can be adapted to each season, is made in Unity, and has been listed in the past in iOS and WebGL. But is it AI, though? What are we thinking about that?
I love Christmas.
Well, who
Well, I love
doesn't?
games, so if the
Oh,
game
this-
works, then we can feel free to send it to us. We'll have a look at it.
Of course. Thank you, MSD Crypto. That's really, really nice. People are raving about the leagues. I can barely manage to start favoriting the question.
This is for you, Santiago.
Do you know how big leaks will be? I guess you will have to wait for the article we release.
But
I
the
mean,
answer is yes. Santiago knows how big the leaks are going to be.
Yes, I know them for a fact. I'm not sure we can talk about it yet. Like, we want to first have the backend ready. We hope to have the backend ready by the end of this week. After that, we will. Sorry.
But roughly, you can talk about this. Like, they're the same size. Do they have flexible
the problem
size?
is I
fixed
learned
size?
I shouldn't talk that much because they take everything like I say, like I will do it. So if I say, hey, the first league is going to be of 20 players, then they will say, hey, but you said that it will be 20 players and it end up being 10. So I cannot really.
But that's not what I mean. I mean, even if you don't say the actual kind of numbers that you have in mind, but what you now kind of, if I were to take your 20 or 10, like the order of magnitude as a given, right? Do all leagues have this number, the same number of players? Is that 800 different leagues then, or what like how does that roughly work?
So you will be divided in leagues, the top 20, top 100. I'm saying numbers. So top 20, top 100, and then you will be stratified. You will get to compete with the points. The purpose of all of this is for you to compete to get higher in the leagues, to earn more. 800 leagues under the sea. They won't be that many leagues. I guess they will be less than 6 leagues. When leagues, oh my god, a lot of questions about leagues. When leagues will be live, how will season leaderboard look like? Will it still be the top 1K players, or will I see only leaderboard for my league? You will see only the leaderboard for your league, and you should be able to check the top players among them.
I wonder if there's going to be any cross-league competition later down the line.
And how many players? So the issue is we cannot know how many players you will have per season, because you can get new players, you can get people who stop playing, but it is designed for the first 5 leagues to get to have 5,000 players, and then there will be a league, for example, the silver one, the gold one, in which you will have from 5,000 to everything else.
So essentially, one league will have flexible size because there's going to be a flexible number of players, right? And then all the other leagues will have a fixed size. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Just hope that the leagues aren't using names like Urain to my own Gold League. Yeah, I received the feedback like 2 months ago about it. Well, 1 month. I'll pick Olga's brain to help us have cool names about it.
Who you're gonna ask?
Olga. And Olga is
ChatGPT.
likely going to ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go there directly.
Let me ChatGPT.
Sometimes you need the validation. Like if anything goes wrong, it was like, yeah, but Olga said it.
True. I guess. I don't know. I mean, we can always go from the stages of Wombat's life, I guess. If there are any
Don't.
real separate names for it besides Joey. It's so cute. I love it.
So Thiago, keep answering questions around the leagues, please.
Yes, I'm trying to keep up. So what exactly that this new league system could achieve that the current system couldn't? Our rankings doesn't fluctuate much like league. I don't know what is WSOP. And to sit through 3 weeks of testing or errors, potentially frustrations, I am just not sure how beneficial this is. Do we have a working group brainstorming this proposed league? So let's go the step by step.
WSOP means World Series of Poker, I suppose.
Okay.
Okay.
At least that's what it reminds me of. I don't know what the context is, but
No, it doesn't make sense if you put, well, World Series of Poker. But
I don't know.
The first stuff I would like to address is we need to keep improving the game. We need to keep adding stuff. We need to make the game better. I understand that you say that 3 weeks of testing or errors, potential frustrations, it's part of every game process. You deploy a change, people don't like it at first, then you make some further changes, some patches, some notes, and then you have a better end product. At the end, the goal is to keep improving the product to have something great and to transition to dungeon worlds and to go deliver everything we have to deliver. Then we have to do this. It's a step by step. We cannot do it immediately. There's not a lot of games who can actually do it immediately. As an example, League of Legends, they nerf a champion, they nerf it too much, so they have to buff it again, and now it is extremely OP, so they will likely have to nerf it again. And all this process went through over for a month. So it's not really as easy as people think of, yeah, let's do it and release it perfectly, because you cannot actually deliver it perfectly, as you cannot guess how 10,000 players are going to behave. What I do agree with you, and that will be a great idea, is maybe have a working group brainstorming with some of the people we have. I think we have leagues on a state develop enough for us to already provide some information to our core players and get feedback from them before it is too late. What do you think, Olga?
No, I think that actually makes sense. This is also something Chicasauce is asking about, if it's only going to be an internal test or if we're going to include some players in this. And of course, we do want to. There's just got to be a healthy mix, I think, of representation of various player tiers, how that actually impacts their play style.
This is more related as well. Like, I think we should have a working group to deliver some of the stuff, because yeah, you don't know much about it yet. But of course, if I show you and I will say 8K, then the top will always say it should be 9K, 10K.
Gazillion of monies, yeah.
Clash of Clans has bronze, silver, gold, crystal, master, champion, titan, and legend link. Just in case you might know. Yeah, but we won't copy them.
At least not so blatantly and in
What's going
everything.
to happen to our temporary one season stamina reduction NFT? Will it become an entity? Yeah, actually, that was the idea I wanted to propose to Adrian, but we haven't decided anything on that.
Propose what?
So you should take the item, you should unstake it, and you should be able to petrify it for 50 MP, something symbolical.
50 MP. Yeah, CapTop is gonna slap you in the face for this.
I mean, 5,000 MP. No, 50 MP, less than 500 MP should be good. Will leaks be tested only internally, or will you include some players in this? Yes, the idea is to include some players once we have the the backend and the front end ready. We want to add at least 100 players into staging for us to test the leaks. The most difficult stuff right now, I will say, if you want to know, is the promotion and demotion. That's what we want to test the most.
Well, you would have 6 weeks to actually get this get this done properly. But anyway,
Yes, that's right. Can someone ask some stuff to Adrian? Like,
there was a question. CapTop has asked whether I'm any good at Texas. Well, no limit apparently. Poker. I used to be not world class players, but I used to play a lot of Texas Hold'em in the 2000s when I was actually studying, and then I got into this whole poker hype with the Chris Moneymaker story and whatnot, right? Which was really like that was really good days. You could still play. That was my favorite actually, was to be able to play against the Americans on a Friday or Saturday afternoon. Like it would be their late evening, and for me it would be Saturday or Sunday morning. So a lot of drunk Americans in the on the tables at the tables, and would be an easy $100 as a student in the
oh my god,
for 2 hours of work on a Saturday morning. Right, you get up at 6, you sit at the tables for 2 hours, then you stop because they all go to bed, and then you're like, hey, I just made $100. So as a kind of student at the university, it was really, really cool. So that worked. I mostly played cash tables up to maybe 5100, but that was mostly short stack actually back in the day when it was still possible, but mostly actually sit and goes, full table, full ring, sit and goes up to. Well, the most I've done was 32 tables at once, which was pretty hard, I gotta say. But full ring, sit and goes up to maybe $50 buy and something like that. That's what I used to play.
it reminds me to how you started on Wax. I had a friend that he just gave me like a lot of the Green Rabbit NFTs because he felt like it, and then the NFTs weren't like $10 each one, and I had like 100 of them, and I was like, oh my god, I just did over $1,000 out of nothing.
Huh.
What happened to Green Rabbit?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's a lot of lore into Green Rabbit that will be interesting to talk about. I have
Future
an
no
idea.
clip documentary.
Adrian, we should get Adrian to go with the 15K of the season pool and bet everything on red. If he's successful, then we put all of that money into the season, and if not, then I guess we can cry.
I guess what?
We can cry.
You can
About
try.
it.
So yeah.
So
Okay.
That is
do
always a
3x
choice.
and the season pool is 100K or zero.
We'll do that live. We'll just go to, I don't know, stake.com, and we'll do that live here on stream. And everybody like wish us luck, and then we'll have a community vote for double or nothing after every single bet.
Oof.
Good idea. That reminds me of something with roulette and stuff, which was really, really not cool. Where but these were crazy crypto days, where a company from Berlin, who I managed to know from back then, founded by a very rich young person who made really a lot of money, like 9 figures with ETH back in the day, right? So he bought ETH at like $1, and then ETH was like 1,500 or 1,300 or something like that in 2017, 2018, around about that time. And he founded a company, and to this day I don't know what they were doing, but they were like, hey, let's do a wheel of fortune for whether or not you get double your salary this month or you get nothing, right? with like salaries of employees and
Oh
stuff.
my god.
I was like, I'm out of here. This was like, oh no, that was too much. But I wanted to answer this with a wink. Yes, that if play is really successful, then we will have all the means to actually bump up the reward pools. So you all go and buy up a lot of play, and we're gonna be fine.
So another next question. Overall, what's exactly better about this league? There's a lot of stuff. First, I want to make this competitive stratification I have been talking about. Right now, it feels too linear to be scaling. Like you have the leaderboard, and then you go from 900 to 889, and so on. There's no clear path or no clear reward to get up to the top. So that's why by stratifying, by setting up leagues, you feel that you're progressing little by little, because you can go from gold to master and grandmaster and so on. So you are incentivized to keep growing with the dungeon with clear rewards, because if you get up in the league for one season, then you will end an NFT reward and so on. So that's the point behind it. Second, you will get a reward differentiation, as I said, like you will have an allocated prize pool per league and also NFT rewards per league tier. And the dynamic, the thing that I like the most is like the dynamic of the promotion and relegation. I think it will be pretty fun to see people compete for it.
But also, I think what's important to mention is where this started, right? This started with originally us having just one leaderboard for everybody. And then there was this problem that new players wouldn't really have a chance of getting kind of a significant reward, even if they pushed fairly hard in the beginning, simply because they had to compete with like really big players who had been playing for seasons. And this is when we introduced the newbie pool, the new players pool, right? Back in the day, this has already been like 2 years or so, right? And then there's been a lot of criticism around the new players pool because that would be how do you say, exploited in terms of hey, I just multi-account without showing that I'm multi-counting. I basically set up a separate account, transfer a lot of items there, and this counts as a new player, right? So I get to keep the rewards. So the league was something that we had in mind back then before we introduced the new players pool, but it was much more complex to implement the leagues as we see now, right, than just the new players pool. So back then we went with kind of the simpler solution for a problem that was real, and but this apparently didn't really solve all the issues, right? So now the league system is a much more powerful system, and also much more invasive into the game. That's why it's rather complex to actually get it implemented. But this whole charade with people basically creating new accounts and buffing them up with old items without actually buying them. This one of the hopes, or one of the expectations that we have towards leagues, is that this is going to be solved, at least to a certain extent. Of course, there's going to be different strategies that people will employ for hey, okay, let's advance to the higher league, let's get relegated in the next season, and it's going to get us a higher reward than the other way around. So there's going to be ways of exploiting this, probably, right? But the idea is that it's going to be much harder, and the people who start out, right, they will have a hard time getting a lot of rewards in the first season, but then in the second season, or as they advance into higher leagues, it's going to become more and more kind of possible for them to keep advancing, or to get a more significant reward. So yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons, right? And then another reason is, as Santiago said, to keep the game competitive for people who have been playing the game for a long time, right? So that it's still there are things that change, right? So if there is always a certain percentage of people who get relegated from every league, you can't just sleep on it. You can't just stop pushing, right? Because you might actually get relegated and your rewards might actually go down. So you'd rather pay more attention. So I myself, for instance, I'm a good example for this, because as soon as I'm going to be threatened to get relegated from my, hopefully, whatever I'm going to be, second or third league, I'll definitely try to make sure that I run more, because as of late, I've mostly been doing 6 and 8 hour runs, simply because I don't have the time. Exactly, right? And I was like, yeah, but whatever. I'll leave the rewards to everybody else. But as soon as I get threatened to be relegated, I think I'll rethink that strategy.
I don't think I know how to behave in front of a camera. That's maybe the reason.
Yeah, you look like you're disagreeing with everything that I just said.
Do we want to proceed with the chat, or because we do have some backlog of questions about the ELO system and petrification and more durations and whatnot?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, ELO system is. I think that's a quick one, because an ELO system would only make sense if you have a PvP thing.
True.
And my kids are home. Hang on a
Oh,
second.
there we go.
I heard that.
Now it's a full tavern stream. Okay. Anywho.
I'll be right back. Sorry.
Oh no!
What
Don't
is
leave us.
CT time?
I'm also a bit confused
Are
about
people
that
still
one.
using bots or scripts to the runs? Yes, they are using.
And it is still working. Twitchy tides. We're really gotta learn to read the room better, I guess. We're not starting
Good to
that.
have Olga here. It makes everything better.
I don't know. Somebody has to balance out your hyper aggressive masculine energy, I guess. I don't know.
You will know if it is working at the end of the season. We have banned a couple of them, actually. They shouldn't receive it.
We always do, right? We always do.
But they don't know it yet.
Surprise!
Yeah, that's the shadow bans, right? I think they're still good in that.
Should do that.
Edwin has abandoned us, panic soul, everything.
Yeah, it's funny. Just wanted to share that story because kids always do that. Is the parental arbitrage that they do, right? So my son comes in and wants to play because they have a friend over today, and it's like 35 degrees outside, so they should actually be, I don't know, doing stuff with water, right? And be swimming and stuff, but instead they're sitting indoors, and my son wants to play PlayStation because his friend is allowed to play PlayStation when he's with other friends. But what I didn't know, so that's what he asked me very, very nicely. He asked me, "Hey, could you help us getting the PlayStation switched on?" I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Where's mom, right? But then mom comes in and says, my wife, but I told you no. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Oh my god.
Classic.
Yeah, it's all parents know that, I believe.
Yeah. The cool pair. It's like a good cop, bad cop game that doesn't stop for 18 years.
Mom already said no.
Of course. And it's like,
Yeah.
and if you don't know, right? Obviously, you try to be consistent with these things, and then if one parent said yes, then there should be a yes, even if the other parent says, okay, I don't like that, right? So then you just bite your tongue and you go like, yeah, okay, we'll discuss that next time.
The real question is who won?
Yes, his mom won, because if that's exactly the point, right? If my wife already said no, then I would basically just be overriding and giving them more reason to actually try that kind of arbitrage game.
Give me a second, please.
What is going on with today's stream? Am I the only consistent person here? What the hell? Locked in,
So far.
I guess.
But funnily enough, some people have some
Have
people
lives.
have already been
Okay.
signing up to Twitchy Tides too.
Oh, yeah. That's what you want to do that now? Okay, okay.
No, I just want to collect some people already, because some people have been
Alright.
signing up to this. I don't know how.
Mystery of the century. I propose we
I have bad news.
what?
My car is going to be 45 days on the mechanic.
What?
Yes,
Oof.
45
Alright.
days.
yes. They have to bring the stuff from the US.
Oof. Man, so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But let's do the following then. Why don't we take like 2-3 more questions that are not super extensive, and then we do a round of Twitchy Tides
Go
on
ahead.
the 1 hour mark. Okay.
Thank you, Prince. That's so kind, but I cannot do it because the house only accepts whatever they import. But thank you.
Let's start with the longest thing in the some of the longest thing in the backlog. With the petrification, what do you think about giving it some permanent boost?
I love it. That's something I want to do. The thing is, if I had more developers, I will do it. Right now, it is not configured, so I will need to get a developer to configure it. And I have one working 24/7 on leaks, and the other one is working on the stability issues that we were facing. So
Yeah, no, that's fair. Human resources.
Sounds horrible when you say it like that.
It is. We all are at the end of the day resources for something. Okay, existential.
Adrian says no. End of the story. Initial.
I never do that. People can't know, but Santiago, how often did you want to do something and I said no, and then you didn't?
I mean, you don't say no, but you said like yeah, or I don't like that. I don't like that, so that's a no for me. So I have to reiterate and.
That's
send you
not
another
true.
proposal.
That's not true, because you did things in the past that I didn't like, and as I told you, I don't like this, but you try it and you go ahead and you clean up the mess if you create one. So
What? I don't remember.
Fake news.
you did this one drop that I was not a big fan of. I don't know. There was one of the more recent ones 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay.
Ah, mom and dad
Maybe-
are fighting.
Was this gem shards? I didn't like gem shards all that much.
Oh, you didn't like James Shards. That was right.
There was another thing I think that I
but
didn't like
gem
that much,
shards,
but you did it
I'm
nonetheless.
sure. I remember you saying no. I don't like James Shards.
See,
Okay, another quick one from Rising Dragons. Is there any chance we get more durations for season 26, or is that too soon?
Sorry, can you repeat?
I can. Is there any chance we get more durations for season 26, or is that too soon?
Durations? What do you mean?
Yeah,
by
like
Run durations.
run durations.
Ah, no. I not at the moment. I want to add
No
more
chance.
slots. Yeah, low chance.
Whoopsie daisy. What was that?
Oh,
No.
Fissant is he was the EU commissioner,
Elected
something like that.
official.
Official, yeah. So he has to know.
Okay.
I honestly can't tell you yet. We discussed that last week. I know, but I haven't gotten hold of our lawyers about that yet. So we'll have to move that by another week.
Like, what duration would you like? Like 4.5 hours? I don't know.
I mean, there's been talks about 3 hours, for instance. There's been 12 hours that people were liking, and some people have been asking about longer than 24 hours even.
I mean, Mazbaz thinks that more duration is more token burning, so there's also that side of the whole mechanic.
Why would that be?
Well, because of the trading activity and whatnot. I'm assuming this is what they mean.
Maybe because you have to buy them specifically.
No more length in the Well of Wealth. Okay, that's new. Another idea I have that it will be cool is one season if we introduce a seasonal item for the rope length and we make the Well of Wealth very deep. So they have to use the seasonal item.
Could be. I don't know why, but I just suddenly had this idea for kind of a random portal mechanic where you get a chance of potentially skipping the rope length to any point within the well. Could be good, but you could also end up with not what you were hoping for. Anywho, do we have enough people for Twitchy Tides? 15.
No.
Okay, then go on in, people.
Now that we're changing and implementing play, I also want to make for the duration, for the run slots for the queue, that it should be ascending in the price, because right now it is 201 baht, 201 baht, 201 baht. It should be like, this is an example, 50 play, 100 play, 150 play, something
progressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also do.
But the mark that's a thing. Well, we thought about this back in the day when we implemented it, right? It was no coincidence. Like nothing ever is in Dungeon Master when it comes to features. The thing is that the marginal benefit of any additional slot goes down, right? The more slots you buy. The fifth slot is more valuable than the eighth slot, right? So why would you make them more expensive? Because people will be less inclined to buy them anyway, right? Because the value is lower. That's why they're all the same price.
So they should be descending. 1 million play.
Exactly.
900k play.
That's an interesting approach. Yeah, for real. Okay.
It's an example. I'm not saying 1 million play.
No. We're not asking. We're not gonna do it with millions in the gate unless I don't know.
Billions.
Billions. Well, billions is also kind of unrealistic because there are billions and billions of tokens in existence. But yeah.
Yeah, but I like the TV series Billions.
Okay, people like more durations. I will take it into account.
Maybe it helps people plan around certain routine events of their day better. I don't know.
I mean, that's for sure, right? So for me, it's kind of the same as well. If you don't have run queues, then you would actually, if you have a little bit of speed gear, you would actually appreciate a 12 or 18-hour run, right? Same with maybe something that's in between 1 and 6 hours. And it could make the votes a little bit more interesting as well, depending on how we balance the runs, because obviously the base multiplier for each run duration will be different, right? Depending on the duration itself. See, 3-hour runs.
Why not make it variable? Yeah, I mean, the goal every time we make a change, what I like to say to the devs is that keep it simple enough so we can make changes to it. So, for example, we can customize this and keep reiterating about all the stuff that we do, so we have a room to play whenever we want to do or add more stuff.
Yeah, the problem in general with USD or dollar denominated prices is that it can make dealing with tokens very frustrating, right? There's one question around from a kind of more technical perspective. Kind of what's your oracle for the price? Where do you get what's the price feed, right? How often does it update? So that's kind of a more technical issue that can be solved, obviously, so that you don't have to react to kind of this is a minute by minute or a second by second change. Maybe you keep the conversion rate stable for a minute or whatever, and then it's fine. Okay, but it's more frustrating from a oh hey, I bought tokens because I thought this cost 1,000 tokens, right? And now because let's say $1 worth of tokens, right? And then you buy 1,000 tokens, which is $1, let's say, and then but you buy them now, and then 2 hours later you want to pay for the feature, but then the price has moved, and then you would have to spend $1,100, 1,100 tokens, right? Because the price has moved. And so this can be very, very frustrating, right? In both ways, essentially. So because people will then go and I want to buy this now because right now the price is high, or right now the price is low and whatnot, right? So that's going to be a little weird. So that's why we kind of never liked the notion of directly pegging or denominating any price with dollars in the game, right?
You know what? There's another reason. I don't want to use any on-chain API or add anything extra that could break down during mid-season.
Well, that's you, but that's not the main reason why this has never been done, right? Because you weren't there. Because obviously, but Wax or Nifty, for instance, they have that, right? Or also that's also a thing in atomic assets or atomic market in general, right? You use the Wax price oracle. You can convert dollars into Wax on a kind of real time basis. It's just when you do that with your own token, and you want to display, okay, this is this many tokens, then prices will fluctuate potentially significantly throughout the season, right? So at the beginning of the season, you might have paid 1,000. Then in the middle of the season, you might have to pay 2,000 tokens for the same thing. And at the end of the season, it might actually cost 500 with no kind of reason behind that other than the price fluctuating, right? So that's what we never kind of liked from a user experience perspective. So we'd rather keep the price kind of token denominated per se, and readjust prices by the season, right? Because seasons are kind of short enough to basically say, okay, the next season will adjust the price according to the item price according to what the token is worth on on a DEX or SEX.
I'm missing something about the bird convention. Can I get some context? It's the third time Rising Dragons has been talking about it.
So the Bird Bombation is a basically stake only or mining power only NFT, right? The whole purpose of the Bird Bombation is that you can stake it, and we've had predecessors for this. There was the Tier Wombation, which was the Bird Wombation's predecessor, and before that there was the Kashmir Wombation. It was the first time, the first one that we had. And so what we said back in the day is, oh yeah, Kashmir has a lot of mints now, so we're gonna rotate that out of the kind of printing press, and we'll replace it with something else so that we don't have too many Kashmir Wombations. And then at some point we replaced Tier Wombation with Bird Wombation, and then it's still Bird Wombation. So now people are asking, will there be something else that has maybe the same mining power or similar, that will always be in the Well of Wealth, and the only way of obtaining this will be in the Well of Wealth? It's a stake only, kind of mining power only utility, but it's something else, right? But the Bird Wombation. So I think that is the question. So because I haven't even checked how many mints we have of the Bird Wombation, but yeah, it might actually be because it's been there for a while. That it's quite many. So, yeah, we haven't discussed that on that level. So there's 11,200 Bird Wombations, and that comparing to the Tier Wombation, probably a lot fewer Tier Wombations. So that's 6,500 Tier Wombations. And then the Kashmir, this is 5,000. So yeah, we have an inflated supply of Bird Wombation. So Santiago should better think about a replacement for the Bird Wombation.
Okay.
NFTs like Tier and Kashmir should have blends now. They're old.
Speaking of breaking, what the hell is going on with EOS and Atomic Hub? What is going on in general with the Wombat wallet interacting with EOS? Do we know about it? Because it seems users are getting this CPU and net problem pretty frequently these last 2 weeks.
So what we do on EOS, because on EOS for CPU, like there's tons of different issues here, but what we typically do on EOS is we rent CPU, right? On Wax we don't, on EOS we do, because there's the whole power feature, which Wax never adopted. So we would do that dynamically, depending on how much we need, right? And that has generally worked. Maybe there's something wrong with that, so we can check. I personally wasn't aware, but I typically wouldn't have to be. But now that we know, we can have a look at that.
All right. Do you want to do a Twitchy Tide break? I think.
Well, if the chat is on fire right now, ranting about EOS issues, then I don't know.
I mean, this would give us at least a couple of minutes to investigate in the background.
Yeah, it's part of my morning routine to read the chat. Don't worry.
The morning routine.
To start the motivator.
Yeah. Dropping for Santiago.
Okay, but we can do the Twitchy Tides. Anyone who hasn't signed up for this yet, !play with an AI. to join, and we'll do coins for events, and Watch at Witcher have their black wombat skins. That's as expected, I would say. So that's the only ones so far. Oh, and there's Pedro.
Do you write the presidential brief for him every day? Every other day I send him stuff.
Okay, this is hard, but I get it.
Usually I know there's not everything is working because the DM chat is silent. There's no one talking.
So it's only ever issues that spark any discussions in the DM chat?
Yes.
So then that means you did a good job at activating the community this season with all the issues.
I did. I hate RPCs. After this season, I hate RPCs. I hate internal server errors, and I hate rate limits.
On that note, let's run a Twitchy Tides round. We can actually go for a little bit of a
Actually,
normal
on that
one.
note, we deliver a lot of updates regarding the rate limits, so everyone should be good at the moment.
I wasn't. I was gonna say that actually. I wasn't having any issues on the weekend at all. Any 500s, any rate limit errors,
That's good, and you shouldn't.
and I didn't.
Will it be a longer season break this break? Yes. We will take 3 weeks off season to prepare for the leagues, to implement play in the game loop, and overall to fix all the stability issues that we have been facing. I need to ping you every time for you to answer. No problem, I'll make it more often. Be ready for my pings.
Ping, ping, ping.
Ping.
Sounds like a
No.
winner, Dane.
Okay, let's go with this. Top 5 players will get a promo box as always, and the top player wearing a wombat costume will do the same. Get the same. That's so cool. Every week we play this, but every week there's something new, at least to my eyes, that I haven't seen yet.
3 weeks without runs, my wombat will get fatter. Yeah.
We should probably shorten the wait with some cool activities, fitness activities for wombats.
Will be interesting.
So there's 4 players left. So all these 4, 3, 2 will actually get a prize.
SDME
Keener.
and Sir Keener. I think Sir Keener will win.
Oh, you were right.
That's cool.
So Sir Keener, SDME, Chucky, Zaber, and Van der Westhuizen. Congrats and GG's. Well played. And then we got the Wombats that have been performing really badly. Watch at Witcher, 23rd. Okay. Meanwhile, the team has been telling me that the issue with the golden boxes from the weekend on Wax should be solved now, and that the rewards might take a little while to distribute everything, but should be fine. Soon TM.
Lee, why are you so mad? I mean, it feels like you're mad because you had a word that I don't know which is it.
Huh?
Say what?
No, the comment that he says refreshing the games will be the best spending the 3 weeks off. Sir Kinner is asking what's the price of what I want.
A promo box for Dungeon
Nice.
Master. Wombat Peloton. Peloton is so not worth it. It's way too expensive for a bike. I used to have one. I sold it. Secondary. Got a really good price for this, but it's not.
I remember you being so excited about this.
Yeah, for the first 2 weeks.
I guess it didn't win you over in the end with all of those video streams and whatnot.
There was a cool, like one of the features that I liked was driving pre-recorded routes, right? Depending on how steep it was, it would actually even change the, I think, change the difficulty. But obviously, you can only drive the same route so many times before it gets super boring. But it was nice because you would see some places that you might have been to, right? Like California beaches, or actually Portugal, or a place in the Algarve in Portugal, and these kinds of things. So that was kind of cool, but it's not worth whatever it was, €1,000 or €1,200 for a freaking bike. Right? So it's just not cool enough.
It does sound too expensive. 1K.
I remember Sasha had the treadmill desk. That is true. Sasha had that, and I don't know whether he still does, but that's actually not so bad if you do a lot of sitting in your job, right? And then you should probably get some some exercise, and then this might be a cool thing, right? So I actually have a height adjustable desk, so I could do that as well, just that I never stand at my desk. So
Okay. I'm sorry, Lee.
on OnePlay.io. Okay, because the links the URLs never work. Okay, so OnePlay games. Yeah, we need more games on OnePlay, but we also whatever. We need so many things.
Not mad with anyone. Okay.
Yeah, because
That's good.
when it sounds like an exclamation of sorts, right?
Yeah.
Wombat Marathon for 21 days. Santiago, maybe we can think about something that we can do with like blends and stuff to shorten the wait.
I do have a couple plans I'll present to you tomorrow, actually.
Oh.
It was hard getting a meeting with you.
You have like 2 days to get this implemented before the season ends, right?
I mean, it is ready. I just need your check, your stamp.
So if I don't like it, you'll do it anyway. I know that.
Not really. If you said you don't like
my-
it, I will have to go back to the drawing board. Unless it is a gem chart. In that case, I will implement it.
I'll use that question by Robert DeFaro to maybe address one thing that has been coming up, because the answer to this question should generally be always yes, and I would I would do the same, right? Or I do the same. I personally keep buying Play, and actually the company does too, right? Because some people were saying we're looking at some transactions that have been happening and saying like, hey, the company is dumping on us, and I know that this is probably the wrong audience here, because most of you would trust us that we don't just bluntly dump millions of tokens in one transaction, right? And that we like, why would we do this and in this specific way and whatnot? But there's been some people basically discussing this, not believing us when we say, "Hey, look, it doesn't make any sense, and look at what's been going on really on chain and whatnot. And this isn't us." But they wouldn't believe us. So it's just a little bit funny sometimes that you can basically argue as much as you want without being successful, so long as you don't want to call out anybody or say names or whatever. You can't basically say, "Oh, people won't believe you when you say, okay, we wouldn't ever do anything like that this way."
Has anything been done to stop the Stockholm Play token? I'll ask Alcor and Wax on Edge to blacklist that token.
But in the wallet, you shouldn't. In Wombat, at least, you should not be seeing this token.
Yeah, maybe from Alcor.
Yeah,
we actually know who is the creator of that token.
Oh, I didn't. Is that you?
It was me. I was tired of not getting an allocation, so I decided to create my own play.
I'm actually surprised there isn't more plays.
This is the one on Wax, yes.
Yeah, it has very, very little liquidity, but it's been performing pretty well today.
Which, the Stockholm wallet?
The Stockholm Wax one. It's up 15%, so somebody bought. Luckily, couldn't have been that much.
Yeah.
Because there's hardly any liquidity for that.
It will get blacklisted. Actually, let me try.
I think in the light of new season approaching in early July, I think Webby's question is actually pretty relevant about what do we do effectively to attract new players to Dungeon Master. Is there anything that we want to do in that regard? Because this is an exciting moment, right? We're also finally getting out of the beta with this.
Oh, you're spilling the beans here.
Am I?
Yes.
I thought you people already ran your mouth to everyone and their mother on Discord and whatnot.
I never say anything on stream.
Right.
It's okay. I'm just going to cry.
Okay.
Oh, this is the question. I was like, where is the question from Webby?
Yeah, I had this bookmarked.
So the question is, what is being done to bring new blood in? For 3 years now, we haven't seen much growth with Dungeon Master, and if anything, there is now less activity within Dungeon Master.
So I want to hear from Olga and Santiago. Because Santiago is the master of the product and Olga is the master of the marketing on that end.
So, new blood in. I guess if things have felt slower is because we got some new developers, 2 new developers actually. So they had to get used to how stuff works, and they still haven't went through all the code. So actually, whenever something is broken and we haven't even touched that part, then it is kind of difficult for them, because first they have to understand how the code works, and then they need to implement a fix to it. We are going all the way. Now we're doing the lakes stuff. We did the gems stuff with them. So they are learning about all the code. They are getting faster and they are getting better. I'm pretty happy with the developers we have at the moment, but we also assign them for Atomic Hub stuff. So if we could have more developers, it would be great, but we gotta work with the resources.
I don't feel that's the question. The question is, how are you going to prioritize getting more people in, right? And what are you going to do? Like from
that was the question. I thought it was about personal. Okay.
No.
Like new employee. No, I got it completely
What are
wrong.
your HR policies? How do
I
you
understand
onboard?
it.
So how to make it grow? Yeah, it could be.
It's going to be leagues.
I guess with leagues we can start. I guess we also need to do some stuff with clans because clans have huge potential. It's also a matter of onboarding. I think the onboarding we have at the moment is terrible. Like it's difficult to onboard to Wax, and then you have to onboard to Dungeon Master, and then you have to learn how to use an NFT, where to buy it. So it's not very friendly for new users at all. It will be great if we implement everything within the game, from buying NFTs to blending and stuff. Because for you to play Dungeon Master, you need to have some knowledge about Wax and the NFT ecosystem. Because you will need to buy NFTs from Atomic Hub, then you will have to go to NFT to blend them, and then you will need to use the CPU and stuff. So it's pretty difficult to get onboarding right at the moment. That's what we also talk about, maybe trying to establish something different from Wax and make the onboarding pretty different to what it is right now.
There's that. Plus, for me, kind of as a marketing person, or maybe if our marketing director still lurks somewhere there in the chat, he can also chime in from the mainstream gaming industry perspective. But for me, I think the main hindrance, if you could tell it that way, is that when Dungeon Master first resurfaced, right, compared to what the even Web3 games are now, it's competing with. It's going to be competing with all of that, plus, of course, the usual nemesis, like nemesis, but in plural, of everything entertainment, which is right now, of course, Netflix, social media, TikTok, what have you. So, for me, we can. There are many routes that we can explore, right, and implement the ambassadorship program, reactivating clans, as Santiago said. We could do ads on Play to Earn. We could do, I don't know, we could ask Metacade to create tournaments to add some sort of a P2P layer. Thank you, Prince Paradox, Nemesis. All of those things, right? But the bottom line is that people are going to come to this game. As Santiago said, the onboarding experience is not great. And then they see what the gameplay loop is. And in its current state, Dungeon Master is a game. How would I put that? For a very particular, strategically minded kind of player, it has a very niche target audience. That's irregardless of any sort of pre-existent ties to the ecosystem, right? There's just a lot of loops and mechanics that you have to keep in mind. So we have to fix those things first, I think, before we really start doing anything. Right now, I would say the solution for that would be, again, maybe I'm totally spitballing here. The solution for that would be improving the onboarding UX, then kind of pumping up the funnels that we used to have, where people first create an account in Wombat, try playing games, get their first NFTs, and are being funneled into Dungeon Master. See where we can tweak that for a more organic experience within our own ecosystem, and then deploy all of those measures to start drawing people from the outside. There is the thing also that we currently want to, in terms of kind of promotional activities and whatnot, we want to focus what we deploy resources on a little bit better, and in that way, so it can help Wombat, Dungeon Master, everything, Atomic Hub to down the line via Playmine. Whew.
Good.
Mic drop. How we answered your question, maybe.
So I agree with Vince, 100%. See, if I am a newbie and I come up this season and I see all the problems, all the downtimes, then I'm going to feel frustrated, and then you're not going to feel happy. Right now, the priority is, that's why we have a dev working 100% on it, is the internal errors, the rate limits, the RPC issues that we have, to ensure that the next season works flawless in that sense. That's the goal. And I agree, one of the KPIs we should have is the dungeon uptime without issues.
Yep.
It's funny because for my masters, I did a client journey map, in which user journey map, in which you have to list everything from the how we call their attention, how people get interested in them, which frustrations they face. So I did it because it was part of the masters, and I chose one but to have some fun with it. And I actually put within the frustrations the uptime that we have and the issues that we face, sometimes with chests and stuff, which is something that we have to improve. And we will improve.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, to me, that goes without saying, right? That obviously, when new people see 500 errors, then that's going to be very frustrating, and then they will leave. But even beyond that, there's also some structural issues. Obviously, a Web3 gaming NFTs not being the hot stuff anymore, as they used to be in 2021, 22. Wax not being the hot stuff anymore, and Dungeon Master being very much intertwined with Wax in general, with a lot of things that are going on Wax, right? So we've had this discussion a few times, and that is definitely an issue for a game like Dungeon Master, right? Because it's very, very deeply tied into NFTs on Wax, right? A lot of features are actually outsourced into blends, into upgrades, into packs and these kinds of things, right? So it's really hard to just go and say, oh yeah, let's now migrate this to a different chain or whatever, which would be good, which would be a good thing to do, right? Because obviously onboarding new players, they always will go, hey, what's this? What's Wax? Why do I need a Wax? What's Wax? Like, first learn about this, right? A niche blockchain in and of itself. So that is a big growth, growth limiter in and of itself. So that's definitely interesting. Maybe also tech not being as reliable as it should be, but I mean, then again, Polygon is also not very reliable at all times. So
You blame poor Polygon.
Polygon performance has been pretty bad recently. It's also from a price perspective. So
Don't
the price has been
badmouth
very
them.
disappointing.
but
you
You
know
are
this-
not helping the cause.
What? Just
Santiago,
make it look pretty, suppress the errors for the users. Yes, that's the goal, actually.
So, not showing the error messages and just making it look pretty. Whoopsie daisy, something broke, but it's not your fault. What ethic?
Oh my god.
What- How is that gonna look like? No, just
I mean, right now I'm pretty confident of the changes we have been doing,
okay.
that they are for the better. So the internal error shouldn't happen again. We still have one small change left to further improve the situation, but I'm confident with the changes we are deploying.
Which is good.
I tend to agree with this, Prince Paradox. Vase right now seems like it's gaining a lot of steam, and this is something you can discuss for hours on end with Santiago. Maybe when you meet at NFT NYC or so, because Santiago is still a big proponent of Polygon.
Right
So-
now, I'm a Katana Maxi.
Okay.
Do you know
Katana.
about Katana?
Um,
It's a new blockchain from Polygon as well.
wow.
Yeah, it's new and shiny.
A new blockchain. That's what we've been waiting for. Finally.
Yeah. No one thought about that. What about a new blockchain? It's like EOS.
EOS is not new.
Volta is
Actually,
new.
EOS is surprisingly old, right? Compared to most other things. EOS launched mainnet in 2018. So it's been around for now 5 years, almost 5 years in production. And it's surprisingly kind of one of the oldest public chains that are still running.
Yeah, but I feel like every time they have an identity crisis, they just change their name and their logo and pivot to something else.
Like Polygon, which started out as Matic.
Like Polygon. I mean, they gotta do what they gotta do.
Survival of the fittest, I guess. Yeah.
Katana looks interesting, but I hate new and shiny. Actually, what you can do right now is just bridge submit to Katana. It unlocks on late June, and you should get a decent airdrop out of it. If you don't plan to use that then you are losing nothing and you're exposing yourself to Katana.
You're not technically losing nothing.
Why?
Because are you getting the staking rewards?
Yes.
Okay.
So
there-
Katana's technology relies on Vault Bridge, in which when you bridge to other chain, what they do is, for example, if you bridge it, they stake it on Ethereum mainnet, and that represents your portion of Ethereum on Katana. So you're winning the yield over there, even if you bridge.
Cool. Yeah, that's something.
That's interesting.
Santiago recruiting more people into his Katana cult.
That's for sure. Okay.
How are your trades going on with meme coins? I haven't been trading meme coins. I have been trading on with leverage, hyperliquid overall.
And how's that been going?
It's great. You just gotta put for leverage and bet the price to go up, and hyperliquid keeps going up. This is not a financial advice, but yeah.
Yeah. And there's always like these that's free advertising, right? They always get these, this Bitcoin whale is 40x leverage or 20x leverage or whatever on hyperliquid. So this is always in the news.
Yes.
On the
Right
X
now,
news.
I'm longing BTC. I think it will reach 109K. And that's it.
So this is trading advice.
No, I can show you, but
None of that
it's
is.
not a trading advice. Can you see it?
Yes.
So this is the channel we have at the moment. We should reach close to 109 whatsoever, because we broke this little triangle that we had over here.
But still not trading advice.
It's still no. I'm just saying what I'm doing. It's not a trading advice.
Good. So nobody has seen these charts.
Yeah.
It was a mass hallucination.
I mean, if it hits 109, then I will say, yeah, it was a trading advice. Why you didn't do it? And if it doesn't, it was like, guys, I told you so.
That's what always happens, right? You just say something, and then 3 years later you say, "Oh yeah, I told you so," right? If you're right, you just put out like 100 kind of predictions, and one of them is going to be true, Right.
You can put Bitcoin is going up 1 month and Bitcoin is going down 1 month, and then you can retweet it anytime you want. Like I told you so.
And you just delete the other tweet.
And you delete the other one. Yeah.
Unless people start showing up with receipts. That's
They
what
do.
you said.
All fakes. All these screenshots are fake.
Yeah, I was sabotaged.
There was a few questions posted 2-3 days ago for you, Adrian, on Discord under Play channel. Not sure if your team has brought it to your attention. Based on the major responses, I say 20, 30 people are waiting for a response.
Okay, we'll get into this.
Your
Okay.
life of random lines. Sounds philosophical.
I'd actually say it seems like there's fewer questions now, or we're basically
Yeah.
ran out of questions, so we could call it a stream, and we could just ask who we should rate today.
I think so too. Man, if Medicaid were streaming on Twitch,
Oh, now Xander is up here. Hey, we're
Hey,
basically
Xander.
at the end of the stream.
Hey, man.
But yeah, you can already come up with suggestions for who you want to rate today. And then everybody can think about what kind of game you want to make.
good point.
I've never asked Santiago on stream what kind of game would you make?
Game. I wouldn't. No, I'm not sure. I would like to do the grid I told you about, the one I showed you on Hyperliquid.
Okay. But
I would like to try that out.
it's crazy. Beesnive is just coming in to ask about EOS stability, so apparently everybody's having issues with that. So we definitely will have a look.
What's the issue with auto refresh after candy claim the thing?
I'm just. Yeah. I also
Nice.
thought.
Random
So that-
line goes up.
What is this children's kind of sing-song thing, and spinning wheel goes round and round? Something could be made about those training lines for sure. I propose we either just rate Sensei or Quadril's art and jump into the DM chat to figure out the
Okay.
EUS
Um,
issues specifically.
Have to manually refresh after free candy claim. Can you send me a video or anything that could help me about it? Because I
Yeah,
don't have
it's gonna be easy to do after the free candy claim, right? So let's see. Sensei Bullrock seems to be doing interesting stuff, but I'm not sure whether they're actually live. Or Quadrel. Is Quadrel live? Quadrel's live. Nashville Lou. NFT dealer. Nashville Lou, we never rated. Or at least not here. Not me.
Blue is great. Yeah.
Well, I would say either him or Quadrell, and let's go.
But I can't find Nashville Lou. Is he live?
I don't think so. Either way, let's just raid Q and
Who's Q? Q?
Quadrell's are.
Quadrell. Oh, Quadrell.
Yeah.
Q.
Okay, let's do this. Say hello.
Have fun with Quadrell's art, and see you later on X streams and Twitch streams. And my cat says hello, and hope everyone has a great rest of the week.
Have a good one, guys.
Thanks a lot for the stream. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a good week. Have a good end of the season, and talk to you next week.
See ya.
Bye bye.